minutes left in the first quarter. It's amazing. Brook Lopez went to bed on Wednesday night and said, you know what? I think I'm 7 foot 1 inches tall. Not 6 foot 1. Why am I shooting threes?
You realize he weighs almost 300 pounds?
Yes.
He's a big boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holiday was talking about it after the game. He's 7 foot 1. He's better around the basket than he's outside.
Who knew?
Wow! You mean to tell me Bud's been coaching this man for like 3-4 years and hadn't told him that? Skip, 33 points, a playoff career high. 26 of the 33 came in the paint. Wow! So in other words, had they been doing this all along, who knows? The series might have been over in 4. They almost let the Hawks back in the game, Skip. They get layup, Brook Lopez looking like Zion Williamson, dunking alley-oops. He catching, dunking everything. Holiday getting to the basket. Middleton getting to the basket. And they was like, man, this is too easy. Man, you know what we do. We shoot threes. And here they come, Skip. 3 or 4 straight possession. 3, 3, 3. Atlanta says, okay, thank you. They go down, make a 3, get a layup, and 1, 3. And the next thing you know, it's an 8, 9-point ball game. When it could have been over a lot earlier than what it was.
Yep.
I do not believe that Giannis is going to come back for Game 6. I'm not sure that he comes back for Game 7 because when you're dealing with a Giannis Antetokounmpo and you're dealing with a knee injury, the last thing you want to do, Skip, is they say, well, you can't make it any worse. Yeah, you can. Because if you couldn't make it any worse, you'd be out there playing with it. You'd be playing now. So for me, I'm going to say Atlanta forces a Game 7. And if they can get it to a Game 7, Milwaukee hasn't felt this kind of pressure because, Skip, the pressure on a Game 7 is all on the home team because you're supposed to win. That's what you fought so hard for, to have the better record. I'm going to say, I believe Atlanta will get them in the Game 7. If they can get it back to Milwaukee.
Do you really?
Yeah, you look at the numbers. Chris Middleton, 26 and 13, 8 assists, 50% field goal shooting. True Holiday, 25, 13, 6 rebounds. Bobby Portis. Skip, I've been asking for Bobby Portis. He could do a lot of things. He bangs the board. He can shoot inside. He can get to the 3. He's a very good defender. I like what I saw from the Bucks last night. I just didn't like what I saw from the Hawks as far as intensity. But still, the Bucks shot. Skip, if you kill him in the paint, you got 66-point paints without Giannis.
Yep.
Why the hell you need to get up 29 threes? I mean, you get whatever you want, Skip. I mean, you just laid it up left and right. I mean, dunking. It's like they got a quota they got to fill as far as three-pointers. Give the Bucks credit. They did what they needed to do without Giannis.
Yep.
They banged inside, and they did a great job. But I expect to see a much better Atlanta Hawks team on Saturday night than what you saw last night, and they're coming back to Milwaukee.
Okay, I will buy better Atlanta Hawks team on Saturday night. But it sounds to me like after what you saw and I saw last night, you're not so sure about the Hawks winning a Game 7.
I don't feel as comfortable as because, Skip, the thing that you can't give up ground like that. And I will try to watch. I watched Trey warm up. It ain't looking good that he gonna be able to play Saturday night, Skip.
He was wincing.
You saw that too. You saw that too.
Well, TNT caught him out very early.
Yeah.
And he was trying to shoot his little floater, and here it is, and he's grimacing off just a little floater, and this, he didn't really even jump.
Yeah.
And he's grimacing. I don't know exactly what the injury is. It's a bone bruise, I guess. I thought it was an ankle turn to start with, but if it's a bone bruise, now he feels like he can't even hop on it.
It's like his mid-foot.
Okay, so that looks pretty shaky to me. So if Trey can't go on Saturday night, it's hard for me to love Atlanta even at home in that crazy State Farm that it will be. As you said, they're going to turn it up and turn it on.
They are.
Okay, back to what I saw last night. I slept on this, and I woke up, and it hit me right between the eyes. Are you sure that the Milwaukee Bucks aren't a little better all-around basketball team, a playoff basketball team without Giannis? I have never been the biggest Giannis fan. I've been staunch in my opinion about this from day one. He is a regular season stat machine.
Right.
Never been anything quite like him. He is a PER Prince, player efficiency rating Prince. He is a back-to-back two-time MVP of this league. He is just an automatic, 30 and 15 in regular season games, sometimes in playoff games. And other times in playoff games, he just shrinks and disappears. They build the wall. He has no answer to the wall because he has no real mid-range game.
None.
And what do we see regularly from him? We see air ball free throws. We see air ball threes.
Yes.
We see too many threes. When you shoot air balls in big playoff games, it takes the heart out of your team. Your team loses faith and trust in the best player by far on the floor.
Yes.
So basketball is a 5-man game. And last night they played 5-man basketball. And if you look at these numbers they put up, albeit against a Hawks team that did not show up, especially in the first quarter.
Yes.
But look at the damage that got done. As you pointed out, 66 paint points, but Brook Lopez goes 14 of 18 for 33. And then look at those two guards. Both of them all-star guards, right? And Middleton goes for 26 and Drew goes for 25. And Portis, who I have always liked to the point of love since he was the SEC Player of the Year at Arkansas. Remember, he is 6'10", 250 pounds. He packs a punch and a load. Well, all of a sudden, he chips in with 22 points. And they're all making half or more than half of their shots. Well, they got outshot from 3 again. It's 15-9 Atlanta from 3. So that's +6 times 3. That's plus 18. Well, guess what? They won by 11 because they just look like the better, stronger, more physical, more dominant in the paint basketball team.
Well, Skip, I look at it like this. Maybe because all of a sudden Lopez could be in the low block because Giannis isn't in the low block.
Thank you.
Because Giannis occupies that space. It ain't like he gonna shoot threes. At least Lopez can say, I do have three-point range. I'm not 40%.
No, he's not. He's 34%. But he's got range because he has a nice shot. Okay? So what do we know about Brook Lopez? A lot of people have forgotten. And just let me finish making my case about this because I always had high respect for him when he was called Brooklyn Brook. It lasted 9 years. This is obviously pre-KD and Kyrie and Harden.
He used to be really good.
But they weren't really good. They made the playoffs twice in 9 years.
But he
did make the All-Star team. In 2013, guess what? He made the All-Star team. And I went back last night and looked at all the numbers he put up for 9 years. That's a long time. And he was always around 20 and 8. And his high points was 21, his high rebounds were 9. So he's in that range of 28, okay? Well, that's good enough to be an all-star. And he was always high, over 2 blocks a game. That's a lot of blocks. So the point is that he never shot threes. It took him until year 7 before he even made his first 3. So he wasn't even trying. In the first 8 years he was in Brooklyn, he was 3 of 31 from 3, which means he just wasn't really even trying to make threes. And then guess what? Kenny Atkinson took over and Sean Marks took over. And they said, well, the analytics say, and that next year he goes 3 crazy. This was his 9th year in Brooklyn. He goes 387 3 attempts and made 134. And then he had that one ill-fated year with the Lakers. I don't know what that was. They didn't know how to use him, and he didn't like it there. He winds up in Milwaukee. And what does he do? He's just jacking up threes like crazy because they have Giannis. So they said, we'll put the 7-footer out on the flanks and we'll make you defend him, And what has he done? Last year, Brook Lopez was on 2nd team all defense for the Milwaukee. 2nd team. He was 2nd in the league in blocks last year, so he can rim protect at the highest level.
He'd be better at 7-1.
Okay, thank you. So if suddenly Giannis isn't there and you can just camp in the lane, you're good in the lane because that's all you ever did for 9 years in this league. You were a low post scorer with skills and strength.
He got nice touch around the basket. He can finish with either hand.
And by the way, that shot that he made last night, it was 5 minutes and something left in the first quarter. If we could see this, Drew Holiday said it was a bad pass on his part. And look what Lopez does with it. Lopez goes up, he said it was a lob, and he just threw it way behind him, and he went clear back behind him and caught it and slammed it. And I read these quotes from Bobby Portis this morning. Guys don't even understand how athletic Brook is to do the things he does. He said, I was watching that from the top of the key, and I saw him coming, and I thought, wait, that's out of bounds, meaning the pass. And he dunked it. And he goes on to say, that was a special moment. Well, again, Brook Lopez is pretty talented. He's not young. I'm not saying he's better than Giannis, but is he a better fit for them as a playoff team than Giannis? Does he make it easier for the ball to move?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Skip. Because he can shoot from the outside, it's really, well, how do we defend him? Well, we let him defend himself because we just let him camp outside and we don't have to worry about him in the paint. Because you can't have two guys occupying the paint. Giannis has to be in the paint. Because Giannis ain't shooting no mid-range, and he's not a very good three-point shooter. He shoots like 19% from the three in the playoffs.
All right.
So I get what you're saying. I don't believe they're necessarily better without Giannis, Skip, because like you said, he's a walking 30-12 guy every night. He's had the exact same numbers in the regular season, because you can even make a case, Skip. He had the same numbers he had when he won the MVP. Nothing's changed. He got the exact same numbers. He's on the defense. He's a unanimous defensive, all-defensive player. But Brook Lopez, he's like, you know what? I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to stay in the paint. 14 of 18. He took 2 threes. That was too many. So if he doesn't take theirs, he's 14 of 16.
He missed both of them.
Yes.
So he didn't have a 3 last night, and they won by 11. What does that tell you? Well, it works this way, too. You can do it a different way.
Right.
And I love what Brook said after the game. Brook Lopez is I know him a little bit. We've had him on other shows that I've done, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he has low ego, so he's easy to play with. And he said after the game, as cliched as this sounds, what's great about tonight is we were all basketball players playing together on offense and defense. We were playing off one another, making plays, making extra passes. It was a lot of fun tonight. Do you think it's a whole lot of fun to play with Giannis every night? It's not. It's fun to win with Giannis, and you're going to win a whole lot of regular season games with Giannis, and occasionally you're going to just dominate the Miami Heat in the postseason.
Because guess what you do, Skip? You throw the ball into Giannis, and you stand around and you watch. And then you watch him try to spin, and then you watch him back it out, try to get a running start, to try to come downhill, a Euro step, or dunk the ball. That's what, that ain't no fun.
Okay. And I've always wondered about, is he that guy? Is he an alpha? Is he a leader? Is he a tone setter? Does he have that killer will in him, Giannis? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I've never been sure about him as the player on the team that he could take to the championship. I'm just not sure. Again, I'm not making a case that Brook Lopez is better than Giannis in a vacuum, because he's clearly not. But Brook Lopez is still he's 33 now, but he knows how to play. And he can play with physicality and force. He's not a huge rebounder, but he sets a tone in the paint that Giannis doesn't set.
I believe this gives Milwaukee the luxury of not playing Giannis, because now you got a guy that can occupy the block and give you production down there, Skip, and that's what you need. So now, if you want to come double Brook, now Clint Capella's like, we don't need to double him. I can more than hold my own. He got to have a good game. I'll redeem myself on Saturday, but they can get what they want in the paint. But the difference is, Skip, when Giannis is there, everybody can't be in the paint. Lopez can't be in the paint. Middleton can't be on the low block. It's hard for Holiday because his guy's right there, and Clint Capella's going to end up blocking the shot. So they play a different type of ball game. Like he said, the ball move. We're 5-on-5. We have to stay connected. We don't have to count on one guy to go give us 30 and 20 in order for us to win. Everybody's doing their part. Skip, the starters scored all but what? 12 points?
And look at the look at the percentage of makes on the starters. That they're all just making half or more of their shots.
So Bobby Portis was huge for them. They cleaned up the Hawks on the board 47-10, and because in Game 4 they were minus in the paint, which means the Hawks scored more than they did in the paint. They crushed the Hawks in the paint on yesterday.
36 minutes for Bobby Portis. I've always liked him because he got the nickname in his first year in Chicago. By the way, he was the 22nd overall pick in 2015 for the Bulls. They call him Crazy Eyes because he's got that crazy look in his eyes. But he seems like a good guy, and the fans love him because he plays so hard and so, like, crazy hard, right?
You said he packs a punch. Mirotic was...
Well, he literally... I mean, they got into it. And I think Mirotic charged him, and that was a mistake on somebody's part because Portis just decked him.
And it ended up, I think he broke his jaw, broke his eye socket or something. They ended up having to treat.
Portis was never the same in Chicago. I never. It felt like there was ill will.
When situations like that happen, normally it's best that you separate the two. Somebody has to go.
They finally did. But if you look at his career, Bobby Portis has 4 games of 30-plus scoring, and 1 year in Chicago was his last year. He scored 38 in a game. I'm just saying, there's firepower there, right?
Yeah, he can score. But the thing is, Skip, I think that a lot of times when a guy's been a starter, and all of a sudden he becomes a role player, and he's just not any role player, Skip, because sometimes he might play 20 minutes and then the next night he might play 5 minutes. So it's hard for him to get a rhythm. He knows, like, I'm the starter. I know I'm going to play at least 30 minutes tonight. So now he can relax and be himself. He gets the rebound. I'm watching him sprinting the court. So that's the difference between what they had, the 5 men they had on the court last night, minus Giannis. Because Giannis occupies so much space. Skip, you got to give him the ball. He is a 2-time MVP. He's going to demand the ball. And we get that. Nobody's saying otherwise. But you unlock Brook Lopez's full potential.
You did.
You unlock Bobby Portis's full potential. Other guys get to do like, hey, I can go in here without Giannis being in there and Giannis, man, possibly blocking my shot. So we saw them on full display, but I expect the Hawks to play better. They didn't play bad, Skip, but they just got up to that slow start, and they had to play uphill for the entire ball game.
I was so disappointed in a Nate McMillan coach team because they literally just got punched in the mouth to start the game. They weren't ready for the physicality that Milwaukee's starting with Brook Lopez brought. And so I'm looking at the first quarter stats. John Collins, I've been a big fan on the bandwagon, 0 for 5 in the first quarter. Herter, who's had his moments, was 0 for 4 in the first quarter. And Gallinari was 1 for 4 in the first quarter. And guess what happened? At one point, they trailed by 20 points. And once you dig a hole that deep on the road, it's just hard to dig out of that.
The thing is, Skip, they probably should have been down 30 because they shot 27% from the 2, 22% from the 3. Milwaukee shooting 57% from the 2. But guess what we want to do, Skip? We got to get them 10. We got to get our quota here. Remember, they 2 or 10 from the 3. Why would you, if you're shooting almost 58% from the 2, why would you even...
I don't know. But listen, those guys, like Chris Middleton last night had 13 rebounds. That's pretty good. How about Tucker had 11 rebounds? So he contributed. And then look at the assists. Drew Holiday had 13 assists to go along with 25 points. Well, that's an all-star performance. So if you add that all up, if they bring that to Atlanta, which is who knows what's going to happen. But if they bring that kind of firepower to Atlanta, if Trey can't go, Atlanta's going to have a hard time.
Skip, we just haven't seen Milwaukee play with the consistency, game in and game out. It seems like their backs need to be against the wall because we saw them got blowed out twice against the Nets.
They did.
And then we see them go against Atlanta with no Trey Young, and what happened? They're getting blown out. And then Giannis gets hurt, and then they take off on a 25-10 run, and they blow the game wide open. So do you expect, what Milwaukee are we going to see? Are we going to see the Milwaukee last night or the Milwaukee from game 2? Because remember, they came out there loafing in game 1. Trey dropped 48-11. They get beat on their home court. So I don't really know what Milwaukee Bucks team I'm going to see on Saturday night.
So they keep saying on TNT that both Giannis's injury and Trey's injury are just a matter of pain tolerance. Can you suck it up and handle the pain? To the point that they're saying in both cases it can't get any worse if you can just handle the pain. Well, maybe it's time for Trey just to suck it up and say, I gotta try.
Man, it's you know what? If it was an injury that you can give some numbing medication, but it's hard to play when every time you move there's a sharp pain, that pain like ooh.
I got it. But I'm going to remind everybody, here are 2 franchises that have a chance to get to the NBA Finals that they might not ever have again. Not like this. The path is cleared. And Giannis hasn't been there, obviously, and Trey might wake up in 5 or 7 or 10 years from now and say, gee, I had my one shot, and I didn't seize the day.
And that's how it works, Skip. Everything opened up for everybody. I mean, and the Suns, to give them credit, they took full advantage. Chris Paul was thinking like, man, what's the likelihood of this guy and that guy being injured?
Exactly right, and he knows. It's
Skip, it took him 16 years to get to this point.
16 years, and all of a sudden the heavens opened, and there it was, and he seized the opportunity.
So you better seize this moment, Hawks.
Here we go.
But Skip, you know when you a young team, Skip, you're like, oh man, we get it next year. We get a couple of years, Skip, we gonna get back. Hey, look at us, we building.
I've heard that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, I'd like to believe, though, that Trey, if he was available to just fight through it, he's going to want to give it a go. I mean, at this point, you have nothing to lose, right? So we'll wait and see how it all plays out, Game 6. Oh, but by the way, LeBron, was he actually recruiting right across the street from the Clippers-Suns game on Wednesday? There was something going on. And how sincere was Pat Bev's apology he took to social media? Let me explain next. Suns were punching their ticket to the finals against Clippers. Just across the street at the LA Convention Center, LeBron was making his own headlines. Twitter was buzzing after Damian Lillard and LeBron were both spotted Wednesday night at the LA Sparks versus Las Vegas Aces WNBA game. Social media was quick to jump on the interaction, questioning if the two superstars might be teaming up. They look happy to see each other. Shannon, what did this tell you?
It didn't tell me anything. I think it was just two guys showing up at a WNBA game. Skip, it is the 25th anniversary of the WNBA. I'm sure those women that was playing that night, very excited to see LeBron James, see a Dame Lillard show up to the game. I think D-Wade was also at the game, so I think that means a lot to them. They just happen to be at the same place at the same time. It's just like anything. People always trying to put two and two together. Yeah. I show up one place and somebody else show up there. Man, I think Sharp hollering at such and such. Just give you know how that goes. I don't think anything. Now, do you think LeBron probably will? Hey, bro, he did that purple and gold, bro. Look good on you. David, yeah, I bet it would too. And do I believe Rob Pelinka is going to call Portland? Hey, I believe all the teams are going to call Portland. What would it take for us to pry Dame Lillard away from you? But at the end of the day, Dame is going to have a say on whether he stays or he goes. But I'm not going to read a whole lot into this, Skip. We know what Dame Lillard thinks of LeBron. We know what Bron thinks of Dame because he's made it abundantly clear. Give me Dame. I'll show you how important he is. I'll show you what he's capable of doing. Let me have him. And he's spoken, is that LeBron is the best player? Is he or KD? So I know what Dollar thinks of LeBron. I know what LeBron thinks of Dame. It's just, I don't think it's anything more than that. It was just a coincidence that Dame happens to be in LA. He wanted to attend a WNBA game. LeBron is in LA, obviously, attended a WNBA game. I'm not going to read any more to it other than that.
My turn.
For now.
Nothing LeBron James is ever a coincidence. Nothing he ever does is a coincidence. Nothing is not premeditated. There's always method to the madness of every move that he makes. And in many ways, I respect that at the highest level because he's surrounded himself with some of the smartest thinkers in the industry. So let's get this straight. This was a night in which, in your town, in your arena, one of your closest friends is playing to get to his first finals in his 16-year career. That's Chris Paul III.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
And also in that building is obviously the Clippers playing, which you don't like.
Right.
So I would have no problem if you just said, gee, I'd like to go support my guy, CP3, but I can't because it's the Clippers, and maybe that would be misconstrued that I'm just going to root against the Clippers.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not saying that you have to go and wear a Suns jersey and sit in the front row and scream and yell for CP3, but I am saying that it's highly suspicious to me that you look down the calendar and you say, wait a second. There's another basketball game going on right up the street at the LA Convention Center at the same time as this crucial turning point, Game 6.
Yeah.
The one everybody nationally is buzzing about. We're all on the edge of our seats to see if these Clippers without Kawhi Leonard can get to the NBA Finals, or is it finally Chris Paul's turn? It's everything, and LeBron could not stand it, so he had to try to upstage it. It's just who he is. I'm not finished yet. LeBron James lives to think of ways to flex his fame, his power, and say, watch this. And he needed a partner in crime, so I'm going to suggest, I don't know this, that he invited Dame. Dame does not live in Los Angeles, to my knowledge. I don't think he spends all that much time here.